We are witnessing something that feels like a movie script, but unfortunately, this is the harsh reality facing our brothers and sisters in Sokoto State right now. And I need you to listen closely because the story has taken a terrifying twist that nobody saw coming. You remember the jubilation, the headlines, and the sense of relief that washed over the country just a few weeks ago? We were told that the game was over, that the big guns had come out to play, and that the reign of terror was finally coming to an end. But as I speak to you today, on this fateful Tuesday in January 2026, the man who was supposed to be running for his life, the man who was supposed to be cowering in fear after the might of the United States military rained down on the forests of the Northwest, has risen from the ashes with a vengeance that is sending shivers down the spines of everyone in the region. Turji Bello is not just alive, he is angry, he is emboldened, and he has effectively taken over, issuing a chilling leave or die order to helpless villagers who are now scrambling for their lives with nothing but the clothes on their backs. To truly understand the gravity of what is happening today, we have to rewind just a little bit to Christmas Day 2025. It was a day that will go down in history books. While families were gathering to eat rice and chicken, the sky over Sokoto State was lighting up with fire of Tomahawk missiles. It wasn't just the Nigerian Air Force this time, it was the United States of America. President Donald Trump, fresh in his administration and eager to make a statement against global terror, ordered what he called a powerful and deadly strike targeting terrorist elements in Nigeria's northwest. The targets were the camps of a group known as Lakurawa, a new and dangerous sect that had been terrorizing the border areas near Niger. The reports coming out of Washington and Abuja were triumphant. They told us that the camps were decimated, that ISIS scum was wiped out, and that the coordination between the US Africa Command and the Nigerian military was flawless. We saw the satellite images, we heard the official statements, and for a moment it felt like the international community had finally said enough is enough with the insecurity in Nigeria. The narrative was perfect. The Nigerian military had previously declared Turji Bello a dead man walking back in 2025, and with the entry of the US military machine, everyone assumed that if Turji wasn't killed in the blast, he would be buried so deep underground that he would never see the light of day again. The Tomahawk missiles, fired from a destroyer sitting in the Gulf of Guinea, slammed into the Isa, Tangaza, and Tambuwal districts. These are areas where bandits and terrorists have roamed freely for years. The strikes were precise, they were heavy, and they were supposed to be the final nail in the coffin for the banditry that has plagued the north. We had stories of 155 fighters killed, of camps reduced to dust. The government spokespersons were on every channel, praising the collaboration, telling us that this was the turning point. The people of Sokoto, who have suffered more than anyone can imagine, dared to hope. They dared to believe that maybe, just maybe, 2026 would be the year of peace. But here is where the story takes that dark, twisting turn I told you about. While the missiles hit the Lakurawa group hard, and make no mistake, that group took a serious beating. The kingpin of banditry himself, the man who has become a household name for all the wrong reasons, slipped through the net. Turji Bello survived. And not only did he survive, but it seems the attack has only fueled his rage. Reports reaching us right now confirm that Turji has resurfaced with a brutality that suggests he wants to prove a point, that no foreign power, not even the United States, can dislodge him from his stronghold. Just yesterday, under the cover of darkness, Turji and his men launched a fresh, ferocious offensive. They didn't go into hiding, they went on the attack. They stormed the village of Tidibale in the Isa local government area. This isn't just a random raid, this is a calculated message. Witnesses and security sources on the ground are reporting that Turji's fighters arrived in large numbers, armed to the teeth, and they didn't just come to loot, they came to assert dominance. They rounded up the villagers and issued an ultimatum that is as simple as it is horrifying: leave or die. They gave the residents 24 hours to vacate their ancestral homes, to abandon their farmlands, their livelihoods, and their history, or face total annihilation. Can you imagine the panic? Can you imagine being told that you have one day to pack up your entire life and run into the wilderness or else you will be slaughtered? This is the reality for the people of Tidibale and the neighboring village of Bargaja right now. The roads leading out of these communities are currently flooded with women, children, and the elderly. I want you to picture the scene. Mothers strapping babies to their backs, old men clutching walking sticks and small bundles of clothes, trekking for miles on dusty, dangerous roads, looking for safety in Isa town, in Shinkafi, or anywhere that isn't under Turiji's shadow. It is a humanitarian disaster unfolding before our very eyes. The irony is sickening. We just had the world's superpower drop missiles on this very soil to stop this exact thing. Yet weeks later, the villagers are less safe than they were before. It raises so many questions that we need to ask. How did Turji survive? The US strikes targeted Isa, Turiji's known operational base, yet he is alive and well enough to organize a massive displacement of citizens. Was the intelligence faulty? Did he get a tip-off? Or is he just that elusive? You know, there's a saying in the streets that when you strike a king and you don't kill him, you only make him more dangerous. That seems to be exactly what has happened here. The focus of the airstrikes was heavily on Lakurawa, which is linked to ISIS and poses a global threat that the US is worried about. But for the local villager in Sokoto, the immediate daily threat has always been the bandits, the kidnappers, the Turijis of the world. And now, Turji is acting like he has conquered death itself. The villagers are saying that Turji is trying to reassert his relevance. He wants to show that the US strikes might have hit the Lakurawa foreigners, but he, the son of the soil turned warlord, is still the master of the forest. He is consolidating his power in eastern Sokoto. By emptying these villages, he is essentially creating a buffer zone, a territory where he rules supreme, where no informant can hide, and where security forces will struggle to penetrate without risking an ambush. It is a strategic move, and it is a terrifying one, because it means he is digging in for the long haul. The Nigerian government has been quiet on this specific new development over the last 24 hours, likely because it contradicts the victory lap they were taking in December. But the videos are circulating. We have seen the clips of the villagers fleeing, the dust rising from their feet as they march away from their homes. We have heard the audio notes from residents crying out for help, saying that the bandits are tightening their grip. It is a stark contrast to the official press releases we read last week. The military is doing their best. We know they're out there. But the enemy they are fighting is like water. You strike it and it just changes shape and flows somewhere else. This situation in Sokoto is a wake-up call that air power alone cannot solve a crisis that is so deeply rooted on the ground. You can drop a Tomahawk missile from a billion-dollar destroyer, but if you don't have the boots on the ground to hold the territory, if you don't have the police to protect the villagers after the smoke clears, the bad guys will come back, and they will come back angrier. Turiji's live or die order is a direct challenge to the authority of the Nigerian state. He is effectively saying, this land belongs to me. It is a slap in the face to our sovereignty and a tragedy for the citizens who are caught in the crossfire between a bandit warlord and the combined might of two nations. And let's talk about the humanitarian angle, because that is often what gets lost in the talk of missiles and warlords. These people fleeing to Tidibale are farmers. January is critical. If they leave their lands now, there's no harvest. If there's no harvest, there's famine. We are looking at a cycle of poverty and displacement that will last for years. Who is going to feed them in the IDP camps? Who is going to house them in Isa town, which is already stretched to the limit? The ripple effects of this single order from Turji Bello will be felt for a long time. Now, before I go any further into the analysis of what the government needs to do, I want to take a brief second to ask you to please support this channel. If you are finding this update informative, if you want to stay ahead of the curve on stories that matter to us in Nigeria and across Africa, please smash that like button right now. It helps the algorithm push this video to more people who need to know the truth. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Click that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a breaking story like this. We are committed to bringing you the raw, unfiltered gist just like this every single day. Back to the matter at hand. The question on everyone's lips is, what happens next? If Turji Bello is bold enough to sack entire villages just weeks after a US airstrike, what is stopping him from attacking larger towns? The fear in Sokoto is palpable.
People are sleeping with one eye open. The rumors are flying that he is planning something even bigger to prove that he is not a dead man walking. The security agencies need to act, and they need to act fast. We cannot rely on foreign intervention to solve our domestic problems. The US came, they saw, they bombed, and they left. But Turji is still here. The problem is still here. It is up to our forces to close that gap. There's also the complicated dynamic of the Lakurawa group versus the bandits. The US airstrikes specifically targeted Lakurawa because of their ISIS affiliation. There have been reports that the bandits and Lakurawa don't always get along. Sometimes they fight for territory. By weakening Lakurawa, did the airstrikes inadvertently make it easier for Turji to expand? Did we remove his competition? These are the complex realities of the conflict in the Northwest that don't make it into the Western media headlines.